الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله الطيبين والطاهرين وصحابته ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن الكريم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون صدق الله العظيم. I'm going to begin by apologizing. I've had the flu the last couple of days, so I'm keeping my mask on, especially for those right in front of me. So I will try to be as eloquent as much as possible. I don't want anyone to fall sick. It's good all of us in the house have gotten it. And so I'm going to keep my mask on with your permission, inshallah. I don't want anyone to fall sick right before Eid. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. This is the last Friday of Ramadan. This is the last Jummah gathering of Ramadan. In our current state, we have to ask ourselves the following question: as Ramadan is now leaving, as we would ask the question when we complete any project. You know, if a person was going to take upon his shoulders a project, let's say at work or at school, and at the end of that project, the question would come about, did I reach my goal? Did I reach my goal? If a person, for example, says, you know, in the next 2 months I want to lose 40 pounds. The days before those 2 months end, they would ask themselves this question: did I reach my goal? Did I lose those 40 pounds? Did I get to the weight I wanted? If a person, for example, wanted to save money over the course of 1 year, they wanted to save $1,000, and they're saving a few cents a day, a penny a day, $1 a day. At the end of the year, they would ask themselves, did I reach my goal? Everyone, we begin a task with a certain goal in mind. And the goal of Ramadan has been mentioned probably many times throughout the course of this month on the pulpit, in different durus, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, kutiba alaykumus siyam. This act that we do in Ramadan, of fasting, of abstaining, it's been ordered upon you, كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, as it's been ordered upon those who came before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And there's a purpose for it, there's an objective for it. And what's the objective? That a person is able to attain taqwa. Now, something like the term taqwa is very hard sometimes to make tangible because it seems intangible. It seems to be something that's hard to grasp. If I were to speak about a wall, it's very tangible. If I were to speak about a card, it's very tangible. If I were to speak about a pulpit, it's very tangible. But the term taqwa seems very intangible to most people. And in order to make this tangible, we'll look at a statement of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he mentioned about taqwa. What is it? Al-khawf min al-jaleel. It is to have true fear of the one who created us, the one who has the ability to reward us, and the one who has the ability to punish us. And then based on this, al-amal bit-tanzeel, or amal ala tanzeel, and to then have action on what that creator revealed upon us. And then it's al-isti'dad, then it's al-qana'a bil-qaleel, and to have contentment with very little. And then what is al-isti'dad li yawm al-raheel? And it's preparation for the day we return back to Allah Ta'ala. 4 characteristics fulfill this idea of taqwa according to the statement of Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Now, if we look at these four characteristics, they're very linear. And they very much mesh together, and they very much go together. That if we don't know for whom we're doing something, and if we don't have that fear, and fear should not be misunderstood. Fear is a term in English sometimes that we assume to be just something that we're afraid of something, we're afraid of the reprisal, the punishment, but fear is much deeper than that. If you have a teacher, if you have a parent whom you revere and love, you fear that person as well. And it's not because, for example, at this age, my father, who alhamdulillah is still alive, I still fear my father. But I don't fear my father the way I feared him when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. There's a different type of fear. I know at this age that I'm at a point where maybe I have a little more strength than him. I'm not going to be afraid of anything physical, but it's the fear of disappointing my father. It's the fear of knowing that he asked something from me and I did not do what he wanted me to do. There's still a level of fear that's there. And then, depending on the level where a child is or any person is, people fear their employer. What's your employer going to do? Your employer is not going to physically harm you at all. They're not going to say, so-and-so, you didn't finish your project, take you outside, begin to take a slipper and beat you with it. It's not going to happen. But we fear the repercussions, the disappointment, the results of our mistakes. And so when a person has taqwa, they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that fear should not just be looked at as some type of destructive element. It's actually the true recognition of a person with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they know Allah's position, they know Allah's rank, and they understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one I never want to disappoint. If He wants, He can forgive, but if He wants, He can also hold me to account and punish me, but I don't want to disappoint Him after all that He's given me. So the person has taqwa, and they are now going through life, and they have the opportunity to make a mistake. They fear the disappointment of their Lord and potentially the repercussions of it. Then the second part was what? If I fear someone and love someone so much, I have to see, what does that person want of me? In this case, what does my Lord want of me? And this is why it's amal, it's action upon the tanzeel of what Allah revealed. He revealed for us, namely to begin this month, to begin the idea of the benefits of this month. Allah Ta'ala speaks about Shahr Ramadan, alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. That there's a revelation that revealed, that came in this month. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. That there was an honor given to this month with both the inzal and the tanzeel of the Quran occurring in this month. So the Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. How much are we looking at? 200 for Muslims. So we're looking at, what did my Lord tell me to do? Someone's going to use anything, even something simple. They're going to begin to build a Lego set. There's still some instruction there. Someone's going to begin to operate something electronic. There's some instruction there. So my Lord put me in this world to gain His pleasure. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. There has to be some instruction. What is that instruction? That instruction is the Quran. It is the operating manual of the believer. Am I acting upon it? Then the third question comes, now I know my Lord, and I know what He wants of me. I also recognize that He has all of these different characteristics and attributes. And in His wisdom, whatever He gives me, I'm content with. It is qana'ah. It's to be content with qaleel, with very little. Because I know my Lord wants what's best for me. And He's mentioned over and over, this is not the place where I'll get everything. But تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبَقَى. That while some people seek in this world all the pomp and glitter and the reward of it, the hereafter, it's permanent. It's better than this world, and it's permanent. And so for us, we have to begin to delve into that realization that whatever good I've been given here, I'm content with it. And whatever has not gone my way, I'm content with it as well. Because what we see as gifts from Allah is not only what's worked out for us, but what has not worked out for us. I remember when I was younger, when I used to go to IE over here, I started when I was 17, I wanted to spend 6, 7, 8 years here. By the end of my 3rd year, my parents said, that's it, you have to move on to college. I didn't want to go, but I was told I have to go. Then I go to college. That same semester, my roommate dies in my arms as I'm giving CPR to him. It was a difficult set of months for me. But all of that gave me more gratitude. I was able to come back here part-time. I was able to study with others part-time, eventually go overseas. Now, why am I mentioning this? I went overseas late, in my 30s. But I recognize now that there was true appreciation and some life experience that helped me gain betterment then. If I had it when I was younger, maybe I would not appreciate it. All of you have similar stories. Maybe you wanted to purchase something or you wanted some wealth, and Allah didn't give it to you right away. But if you had it at that moment, it may have caused harm. And later, maybe you got it, or maybe you didn't get it. It's waiting for you in a better form in the hereafter. That is contentment, what Allah gives us. Because what He gives us has benefit, and what He does not give us has benefit. If it was benefit for the Prophet just to stay in one place, then he would have remained in Makkah al-Mukarramah. And then he was shocked. When Waraqa told him that you're going to be expelled from this land, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, "Aw mukhriji? They're going to expel me from the land? As-Sadiq al-Amin?" But even that which quote-unquote goes wrong is actually right for the believer. And then finally, all this, why? It's preparation, al-isti'dad li yawm al-rahim, for the actual true judgment day. Oh, the true judgment day when everything actually is going to take. This is what taqwa is, these 4 steps. So now I go back to what I began with, the verse in the Quran where Allah Ta'ala mentions, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu taqullah. 7 places in the Quran Allah tells us this. Oh, you believe in taqwa of Allah. It's a difficult thing to attain, these 4 things. But then He gives us shortcuts. Kunu ma'a sadiqeen, be with the people of piety and truth. Qulu qawlan sadida, speak straight speech. In one place He tells us, وَلْتَنْظُرْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ لِغَدٍ. Let a person look to see what they've set ahead for themselves. And this is where I'm going to wrap up. On one occasion, Harun al-Rashid, he was speaking to one of the sages of his time, Bahlul. Bahlul was a person who seemed to be a bit off, but is actually just very connected to Allah Ta'ala. So Harun al-Rashid, and I've said this story before, you may have heard me say this before. He saw Bahlul, and then he came and he said, look Bahlul, I know one more foolish than you. So I'm going to give you my staff as a gift. You find anyone more foolish than you, give it to them. I said, okay. Continued in his worship, in his dhikr, in his remembrance, spent a lot of time around the graveyards, pondering over death. Time passed. Harun al-Rashid had a successful rule. As his time was coming to an end, his final sickness, he realized he's not going to survive this. People began to visit the Amir al-Mu'mineen. And as they began to visit, Bahlul came in. How are you today? He asked all these questions. Harun says, I feel this is my last sickness. I'm not going to survive this. Bahlul says, in that case, I have a gift for you. And he gives him a staff. So Harun, he asked, do you recognize the staff? Harun said, I do. I gave you the staff. And he said, yes, and you told me to give it to someone who's more foolish than me. So Bahlul said, oh Harun, in this world, when you would travel, how did you travel? He said, I would send an entourage in advance. They would make sure the way is secure. They would set up my temporary residence where I'm going to arrive. And he said, yes, now you're going to go to your greatest journey. What deeds have you sent in advance? And Harun became very quiet. He said, yes, you're right, Bahlul. Today I am the foolish one. Granted, he was a pious individual, but it puts into perspective how people looked at their hereafter. So with this, I'm going to stop over here and turn to all of us and remind us that there is a day where all of our deeds will be taken into account. And we should have taqwa of that day. And we should have taqwa of the Lord who created that day. And the way we need to do this is through whatever deeds we're able to do. Some of us, it will be through khidmah, and serve the masjid in which you are praying. It will help you in ways you cannot imagine. Some of you, it will be through da'wah, spread the deen of Allah Ta'ala. And for some of us, it's going to be through what? Through spending wealth for the sake of Allah. So right now, we have the need to sponsor 10 students at $7,200 a month. That's $600 a month per student. We need 10 sponsorships. I'm going to take a few minutes to see if we can have volunteers to sponsor. In this day of Ramadan, this last Friday, this blessed time of great rewards, I want to see, is there any, if we can just start with 2 people who can personally take for themselves the responsibility of all the rewards and all the benefit of that student's deeds from the time they study to the time they pass away, just spreading the deen and then beyond. Is there one person who can say, $600 a month, I'm going to be able to do this? I have one person. May Allah reward you and grant you such a reward that on the day of judgment you have no regrets whatsoever. Is there a second person who can also do the same thing? Who can say, I'm going to take one student on my shoulder, maybe I couldn't, that's how I studied. I couldn't afford overseas. I had one main sponsor, another partial sponsor who paid for my way. Any second person who can take a full student under their wing? No problem if you can. I don't want to hold your time. I know you have to get back to work. So here's the second thing I'm going to put this way. Does anyone want to sponsor half a student? $300 a month. Those things, they add up. Anyone want to do half a student at $300 a month? It's going to be a little tight on the budget, but the hereafter and the barakah in this world will show. Anyone who can do half a student a month? No problem. If you can't do half, we have one person right here, one brother here. He's going to take half a student a month. He's going to do $300 a month. Can anyone fulfill that other half for us, please? Anyone fulfill that other half for us? $300 a month for a student. Okay, we have 2. May Allah reward you both and give you, instead of half the reward, the full reward as if you sponsored a full student. Now I'm going to ask, are there 4 people who can take 1/4 of a student a month? $150 a month. 4 people can do 1/4 of a student a month. $150 a month. We have one over here. Excellent. We have 3 more people. We have 3 more people who can do 1/4, $150 a month. Yes, we have a second back over here. So that's half a student. I need 2 more, 1/4. Two more, 1/4. There's a third one over here. I need 1 more for 1/4. 1 more, please. Anyone able to do it? $150 a month. I'll give it for the sake of Allah to sponsor a student to fulfill their dream and to support the deen through this individual studies. 1 more individual? Yes, we have 1 more over here. Okay. So now the last thing I'm going to mention over here is that we have musallas that are sponsored musalla. The average expense operation is $200 per year to sponsor the expense of one musalla, pretty much one section of the masjid. All the reward anyone will get praying on that musalla, you get that exact replica share. Can we have, this is per year, 200. Can we have 10 people? We have 1 over here. We have 2 over here. A third one. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to volunteer my kids. You're 8 combined. 8, 9, 10. That's 10. How are we looking on time? How are we looking on time? 10:20, 1:23. I'm saying, how are we looking at time? Okay. Left? Okay. I don't want to take the full 5 minutes. We reach 10 easily. Anyone else who can do a full musalla? Anyone else who can do a full musalla? We have 1 over here, his brother over here. Anyone else? Another 1 over there. That's 12. 1 back there, that's 13. Maximize these rewards. Everyone wished they could buy GameStop stock when it went down. And then it went through the roof. This is the stock of the akhirah. That's 13. Come on, a few more people. 14 over here. We have another person. I was giving 5 more minutes. I'm only going to take 2 because I know people want to pray, want to connect to Allah, not necessarily listen to me. That's 14. We have a 15th person. With the 15th person, I will stop, inshallah. That way, we have a brother right over here. For those of you who did not donate, the opportunity still exists. Some of you don't want to do so openly. For those of you who did not donate, never be afraid of the amounts. Even $1, even a penny, can ward off the effects of the hellfire. So whatever is in your pockets, for any cause that pleases Allah, give it. And for all of you for being patient through this, I ask that Allah Ta'ala removes from you obstacles in this world and the hereafter that would have caused you any anxiety and pain. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. I don't want to get you sick.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya 'ala as-salah. Hayya 'ala as-salah. Hayya 'ala al-falah. Hayya 'ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
ये तुम किसको दूंगा नाम लिखो ना इस पे ये यहाँ रखना ना ये अपने पास
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يا أحباب الكرام،